Disney Snow White, at the time of this recording, premiered in theaters nationwide. I have zero interest in seeing it, none whatsoever, for multiple reasons. Multiple reasons. One being that Disney now is not being creative anymore. They're just rehashing, redoing their animated version now into live action. And why? They were masterpieces when they came out. There is no reason to make a live action except for just bringing in more money. So what we're going to do here is do our review on the original, the 1937 Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I never saw it before. This is my first time.
I've only seen parts, so this is my first time watching the whole thing.
Right. Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. My name is Angel,
I'm a Don.
where we give you a review at least once a week. Spoiler alert for a movie that was in 1937. The Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs have been retold so many times through the years, through the decades. We've had the one with Julia Roberts, Charlize Theron. There's multiple other versions as well. And they've done like spin-offs or like stories. I think there's one, like what was the Disney show? Forever After or Ever Told, whatever that one they did.
Oh, it was like on the ABC, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it was like all the fairy tale creatures living in our world,
Right.
or something like that. Yeah.
Correct. And they had it in Shrek. I think Shrek 3. They did it.
She was
Snow
there.
White.
She was like,
Right.
And then
Singing,
it goes into yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Led Zeppelin thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Watching this for me, I was just amazed. Like, for one, I didn't know how long ago it was, 1937. I didn't know that. The animation still rocks, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's a testament to them keeping the original cells and everything, because apparently a lot of the original animations from like the old school stuff, if they kept the cells, they can easily go up to 4K. But a lot of, if they're not kept well, it degrades. A great example of this is like remember the OVA Fist of the North Star?
Yes.
If you find it online, you'll see like it looks real crisp, and then all of a sudden there's scenes where it just gets super blurry and super out of whack. It's not because of censorship, it's because they lost those original cells, or they got degraded.
Right. Well, there were some parts here that I saw some like fuzziness here and there, but what I'm just saying though, just in general,
yeah,
the animation is great. The artmanship, because like today, unlike today, it was hand drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Like today is computer that makes the animation. You can just knock out episode, movie. Of course, some take a little bit longer than others, but this was like a long ass project where to make like a 3-second scene or movement is like 100 pages.
I would dare say some of the animation is actually smoother than some current anime I watch now.
True. Yes, it's very like today, like blocky, almost like South Park, for example. That's very blocky, but that's their world. They created that way for a reason and stuff like that. So that's something else. But yeah, here it kind of also reminded me of Max Fleischer's Superman, those old cartoons.
And you know what? And those old cartoons have no reason to be as good as they are. Because if you watch like the animation on it, it is insanely crisp.
No, it is. It's beautiful. And I'm just like taken aback, like, wow, what happened from there to now that this animation can't be, it should be better today in comparison with technology to what they did there, because it was just hand drawn.
Yeah. Well, like another reference, like we loved our 90s cartoons. X-Men, Spider-Man, they're technically blocky in comparison to this.
Yes. Well, you have also like Fire and Ice, that animation. You also have
Heavy Metal,
Lord of the Rings, Heavy Metal, but Lord of the Rings as well.
Yeah.
The animation, those are pretty well too. And there's like in the 70s and 80s. But anyway, granted, even though this was a fun movie to watch overall, I do have some issues with it.
Oh,
it is a sign of the times of it when it was done.
Okay.
Definitely. Of course, the many more revisions or renditions or remakes of this story, of course, you have the little twist here and there, but I still enjoyed it. I thought the Wicked Witch, not the Wicked Witch, but the stepmother, Evil Queen, she was amazing in the sense of the evil one when she transformed. I thought she was cool. I think she was cool in general, before the transformation and after the transformation. I thought it was really cool, especially how they did it. And the dwarves stole it for me. I could not stand Snow White, sorry. And that prince, why? I mean, after I watched it, I saw some of the like behind the scenes stuff because that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
And they have it on Disney Plus. That's where I saw it. Did you see it on Disney Plus as well?
Yes, but I don't watch the behind the scenes that often. I was going to tell you this though. I really do agree with you that the Seven Dwarfs are the actual stars of the movie, even though it
Mhm.
says Snow White in caps,
Mhm.
because of the way they animated them.
Yes.
Like Snow White, even the Queen, they're flushed, and I know it's supposed to show like the people and whatnot, but they're not as detailed. They kind of like blend in with the background, where
Right. But
the
it's like they're like
dwarves stand
porcelain
out.
dolls. Yeah, like
Yeah.
porcelain dolls, right? Yes. And the dwarves were great because they represent so many things, like people's personalities
Mhm.
or multiple personalities, if you will, even though there's each one is specific, but many of us have that, like grumpy. Hello, that's me. But I'm also could be sleepy. I'm definitely not Doc, and I can be dopey,
I can connect with Doc.
but he also reminded me like of Porky Pig because he was stuttering a lot.
Yes. Well, I attribute that like he's thinking more than he can say. He's
Right.
trying to put his words. He's not putting them as fast. But also, I kind of vibe with Dopey at times.
Yeah, bashful.
Hmm.
Bashful for me was when I was younger and I couldn't talk to girls and stuff like that. That's me right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they were awesome. And the music and their thing, hi ho, that's iconic,
Yeah.
and I really don't remember like the other songs, but I remember that song.
I think
So
of Hi
they
Ho when
definitely,
I think of Spaceballs. Because that's what they're whistling.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but yeah, I mean, because
But that also shows like the influence this movie has over generations. It's almost 100 years old.
yeah, it will soon be 100. Yeah,
In
you're
12
right.
more years.
Yes, yes.
I'm
Now,
not that patient. I'm not going to wait for 12 years to do this.
well, that's where we're doing it now. It is very dated in certain aspects. It puts women in a bad light
I don't think
because,
so.
well, you have the queen
Yeah.
that's all about looks. She's very materialistic,
Yes, but
right?
that can go for both guys and girls. But I'll
Right,
follow
but
with you.
for here, it's like who's the fairest of them all in the sense of talking to the mirror.
Hmm.
And it's not like who's a good hearted, who's a good person, like who's the wealthiest, but who's the prettiest
Yes.
out of the kingdom. She's like she wasn't the most prettiest. Now, granted, she looked pretty good as what she was,
Yeah.
but her like insecurity, and her stepdaughter, like this is like I don't even know what they if they went over in the sense of what happened to the husband, her father, Snow White's father, but it
Yeah.
was like
I don't think they establish if he's alive or not. I assumed he wasn't.
right. But I'm saying she's the stepmother. I mean, there's only one throne. She's on
Yeah.
it, and like she was told, long ago that Snow White was the most fairest of them all, and so she put her in rags. She
Yes.
didn't she didn't kill her. She didn't do it like that until later on. She wanted her dead. But that I mean, it's like for me, and in the sense like how they men or how women were perceived back then, it was very materialistic, and lack for a better word. They did show strength in Snow White's performance in other ways to
Hmm.
counterbalance, but I just like for this character, it was just very simplistic.
Yeah. The queen is simplistic, but she's also a strong character. She's like, it's
No, she's definitely a strong guy. She's the queen.
yeah, absolutely.
But I'm just saying, like, with all that power she already has, she still has to be. It's like a person who has like 300,000 great reviews,
Yeah. And they
right? But
need
that, but
400.
that one review that's
Ah,
negative, you get focused on that.
true.
So kind of like that, in my opinion, right?
I was thinking of it more
But
like Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom has a country. He leads it. He's a villain without question. And he leads a
Mhm.
country and it has all this stuff, but he believes that he can save the world. He wants to rule the world. There's been plenty of storylines where he rules the world and then he's like, I could do better. I need to rule the universe. His quest for power always takes him a little bit more. It for the queen here, her looks is her obsession.
right, even though it's a great movie overall,
Yeah.
it lacks a lot of other like details or explanations or exposition. It just kind of like rushes through certain things. Now, granted, this movie is almost 90 minutes long, which is
Yeah.
pretty impressive
And you
back in
feel
the
it.
day. Yeah, you feel it definitely, but still is good. And before I continue, this movie is extremely dark for a
True.
1937 movie that was directed for kids. but it felt like more like directed for adults.
It kind of was also directed for adults at the same time. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it was just so dark in so many ways. Oh yeah, it was just like they just run through things like, again, no explanation of the husband. Like, did he pass away? That so she becomes the queen, and that Snow White become pretty much a slave, and Snow White's okay with it. I was like,
Yeah.
it's like, when does that happen? It doesn't really explain that in detail or any kind of explanation in that sense. That she was just in power, even though they know she's the princess, like the guy who tried to kill her.
The
He
Huntsman.
knows she's a yes, but he knows that she's the princess, but like everyone accepts her like to clean and all that stuff. So I
Hmm.
mean, so I just wish they did that. And like in the beginning, they go into a book, they open a book, they're like a fairy tale book. They tell you what's happening, and then they kind of show you what they explained. Stepmother goes to the mirror to see who's the fairest of all, and then finds out it's Snow White. And then they go into it, does the same thing.
Hmm.
For me, show the book. Okay, explain that. You got to read it, which I thought would have been better if someone narrated it, because everyone who went there blind to the movie theaters, they're shit out of luck. So have the narrator read what was said, and then go cut right to Snow White, or forget the book and just have the queen, or have the movie, excuse me, start with the queen approaching the mirror, and that's where the movie starts.
Okay.
It explains right there. Then you can follow what's happening. Then you find out it's Snow White and stuff like that. So I would have been fine with that. Before we go into our dislikes, though, do you have a favorite moment?
The washing of the hands.
Yeah.
That was a great number one. That was oddly enough one of the scenes I was gonna say. The leading up to that, where she's telling them like, "Show me your hands," because a lot of times, like you said, Snow White doesn't seem like a strong character, but I thought that low key she was manipulating them and being strong at the same time. Because she's like, "I'll cook for you, I'll do all this other stuff," and then as soon as soup was ready, she's like, no, just wash up, guys," and they're like, "What?" And she's like, "I said, wash up. Y'all
Right.
need to wash your hands."
You can see like she's like a mother figure, like a prop, like what her stepmother is not.
Exactly. She is
She
more of
is.
a proper mother figure in a lot of ways. And
Right.
and I've seen that archetype in some other storylines where they say like the dwarves are almost childlike in the sense that they don't have a mother figure and they all connect to each other. So
Mhm.
I get that.
But I kind of find it funny too. Doc, who I guess is a doctor in the medical field, has some knowledge. You would think he'll be like on her side about washing their hands. Like he would have the guys wash their hands, like up and practice some kind of hygiene.
Yeah.
But no. So yeah, it is funny. But it is funny, and to me, that was kind of gross because they're washing their hands in a tub
In a trough.
where cows and horses get their water from and stuff like that, which I thought was like,
But then they
it's
put
just
soap in that same water.
still gross, regardless.
At least they
Um,
wash behind their ears.
True.
But that was also funny. And
Now,
like Grumpy didn't. He's like, "You'd be hard pressed to get me in there." In there, and they're like,
yeah,
"Okay, bet."
and then they all ganged up on him. Yeah,
Exactly.
for me was the queen,
The transformation sequence, or just the queen in general.
not the transformation. The transformation was kind of It was weird, but okay. And I have a problem with that in the sense, and I'll explain to that why. But I just liked when she transformed.
Hmm.
That was a scary moment in the sense of what she became. And it took me back when I was a kid and I went to Disney World and I went onto the Snow White ride.
Which
The
I don't think they have
statues,
that anymore.
no.
We were
Oh
there, and
man,
I didn't see it. We went for the
we
50th in Disney World. And
no, but we didn't go. We didn't go on the ride. We didn't go to
we didn't
what
search for Snow White.
right. We did. Yeah, because we got there so late. We're at Galaxy's Edge, and then we went to another section too
We did
late.
like 3 parks.
Yeah, I know. But the last part was where the kingdom, um, and it was too late. We had like an hour left, and then we had to go.
Uh,
Anyway, the Snow White ride, you see that like you're going into the castle, you look up, you see the witch or the queen
hmm.
looking at you through the window, and then you're driving by, and that goes really cool. It's really done really well. You see her in the mirror doing the spell, and then the mannequin turns around. And as it turns around, it's the old witch. And
Oh,
I saw at the time at the age where it's like, oh crap, because she's really scary. And every time she's pretty much on screen, she's not looking off camera. She's looking right at the camera, like looking at you.
yeah,
And that's like soul piercing.
sure.
When I saw that there and the way how they drew her and how they presented her, it was really cool. Fun fact: the lady who did the queen also did the witch,
Yes.
and to make her sound even more raspy and what have you, she said, "Excuse me," came back, said the lines, and they're like, "Wow, what did you do?" She's like, "I took out my dentures."
Yep.
Like that little tidbit, like how old this lady was when she did the voices like that, I don't know, but great job in that sense of able to adapt and create the voice that they wanted. So that was really cool. But yeah, her presentation and stuff like that, I thought it did its job.
Yeah.
You were uncomfortable. She's looking at you dead eye in the camera, and you're like, "Oi!" And and what's kind of funny too, because the witch has one tooth, so pretty much no other teeth. So the actress, she took out her teeth so she can do the voice. The vultures,
That I
like
thought was a good touch. Because
yes,
it's dark, but it's a great way to show that character died without showing
right,
them dying on screen.
correct. Because if you know about vultures, they wait to the subject or object is dead because they
Yep.
can't fight, right, fight back, and then they just eat the remains. Yes, that was a great detail. Also, the darkness, like it says, give me her heart. Like the whole time when she's telling the huntsman to kill her and all this stuff was like, wow, 1937.
I mean, that
This
was
is
in the
how they.
original story, but still, like,
No,
you
not an
would
original
think that'd
story,
be,
but it's here.
yeah,
But in
yeah, you
this,
would think
in
it would got
this,
sugar coated.
they just went for it because I don't remember like even like regular live action movies being that dark back then.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Bambi. Bambi was there. She made an appearance. There was a little.
I
I don't
yo,
think I thought. I
I
don't
I
think I
made
saw
that joke
Thumper.
too to myself because I'm like, what is Bambi and his crew ditching Snow White in the cabin? Because like they came to her rescue, right?
Uh-huh,
Because you
uh-huh.
could argue this is all interwoven in the same universe. It's the same
Of
crew
course.
because you got Thumper, you got Bambi. I think
Mhm.
there was a skunk there too, and they all lead her into the cabin. As soon as the dwarves show up, they abandon her.
Right. Well,
No one gave
well,
her a
they
heads
don't. They
up.
don't trust her. They don't. Well, yeah. Now, faux pas.
Mhm.
Even though this movie is well received and is, holds deep in many people's hearts,
Yeah,
there's a lot of faux pas here. I guess around the same in the sense of why, like Rachel, the star of the new movie, she's another reason why I don't want to see the movie because of her. Like she's so full of herself. Like she only has done a few movies. She's carries herself as if she's like a goddess. No, she's the same girl that was in Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
yeah, she played a goddess.
Right, but I'm just saying she's not a goddess. Not even close. But Snow White, is she blind? Because her eyes are closed for the most of the time. Hello, everybody. Hi. And then she'll open her eyes like once in a while. But it was like always closed with long ass baby boob eyelashes. But when for someone who's being tortured and embarrassed and ridiculed, what have you, in that way, in a sense of, even though you're a princess, you're not really a princess,
Yeah,
but dressed in rags. She's still whistling, still had this great attitude. And I'm like, wow, very
optimistic.
optimistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when she gets almost killed by the huntsman, or the huntsman says, run away, she immediately believes him, runs,
Mhm.
and she's like this, almost like a person would do in a Broadway show to over exaggerate.
True.
And again, that's a sign of the times.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But it was just like a little bit too much. She's holding the dress up, like being a little dainty. I'm surprised she's wearing heels in the forest.
I
And
mean,
why
they
is she?
started off the movie with her wearing clogs.
That's true, but I'm talking about in the forest. I can understand heels in the streets is like that because it's solid,
Yeah.
but in the forest, in the ground, the grass, very
I feel like the huntsman said, "Put on something nice. We're going for a picnic."
right.
And like,
No, no, yeah, pig flesh. Well,
yeah,
by the queen's orders, yes. So like that. Oh, did you notice that his knife was switched sides?
there was tons of editing mistakes.
Oh, of
The
course.
like the cloak that you were talking about, like her wearing heels,
Mhm.
and she had a cloak.
Yeah.
She hung it up. That cloak is never seen again. There's times where they have buddies of one color, and they go through a doorway. They switch colors, and
Hmm.
like and literally that you never see that color again. Things come in and out, and they just disappear, and like forgotten animations, basically. Like you said, it's a testament to the time because those are they would seem like simple mistakes, but at the same time, like there's a lot of work that goes into it, so it's understandable. It's not like you have a guy running in a computer program to re-edit, but it is a ton of stuff that happens.
Yeah, but for me, that huntsman with the knife on one side, on his right side, and then when he's with the princess, Snow
Yeah.
White was on the left side. So I'm
Hmm.
like, huh? So what, you just couldn't like, okay, sure, whatever. Again, the eyes being closed the whole time. I was like only a few times her eyes are open.
Hmm.
I know that after she took the bite of the apple, she's supposed to be in a deep sleep, almost dead or
Yes.
pure dead,
Like a
but she's
coma.
still breathing, right? She's still breathing. So they put her in a glass coffin. She should have suffocated.
Well, here's the thing. They don't say that she's breathing or not. I was trying to think of it like the sci-fi status, like maybe she went into like a stasis or
Right,
like the
but
body because
but
like she's like the witch was like now the blood will congeal.
but what I'm saying is that the spell was to put her to sleep
True.
but in such a state that she appeared dead. Why not just kill her? I don't know. She had a guy try to kill her, so why can't just kill her?
True. No. You're not wrong. Like
You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're gonna make a spell to sleep, there should be a spell to kill.
I think she had a book of poisons too.
She had so many books. She had a book of transformation,
A
a
book of
book of
alchemy.
what was kind of funny on that. They all seem related, like similar to one another, but
True.
you just have it like one like specific,
Very
for I guess
organized.
for the thing is, if you're asleep, you still got to breathe. So meaning that maybe that like the chest will not go up and down or what have you, but you still got to breathe. So they made a glass coffin, which I thought was hysterical. It's like you can't breathe, and you really killed her.
Yeah.
And how do you make glass in the forest?
I mean, they have a cave. People have been doing
Okay,
it for
and
years.
they have a cave, but they made a glass coffin. They made it out of the jewels, the diamonds, whatever they crushed it, and what they did.
I mean, glass is made from sand being melted down.
I understand that, but they're in
Yeah.
the forest. Are they by the water? They're by dirt.
They got
They're
plenty of
not by
dirt.
sand. Yeah, but you need sand.
I'm just saying that dwarves historically have been known to be forgers, like Lord of the Rings
Mhm.
style. They
Well, they're
mine and
reminding. They're reminding.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they also craft, master craftsmen. So there could be a forge. It's just off camera.
Okay. Now, what's the purpose of the key by the lock of what they just mined? That made no sense to me. They locked the door in. Dopey locks the door. He locks it. He's about to leave with the key. He's like, "Oh wait, let me just leave the key there by the door."
Well, he's also dopey, so
I understand that, but but there's a hook there for it.
maybe just to keep the animals out.
Maybe, but a bear can come by.
Maybe
Or is he trying to keep the jewels inside from escaping? It was like,
could be magic
uh,
jewels.
maybe, maybe. Here's another one. In the beginning, the prince comes
Yeah,
and he starts singing to her.
the way it interacted, and I'm sorry I cut you off here. It
Ah, that's
felt
fine.
like it wasn't the first time he's seen her.
Right. Like he's come to visit.
Multiple
He's
times.
right, but he's come to visit here. But on the behind the scenes thing,
Yeah,
they show that he says, "I love you." It's like, or "I love her." Like the songing
yeah,
is the way of they're communicating, not the singing back and forth is, yeah, they're telling their love for each other, and she says something back, and it shows that she loves him too, and so he like jumps and joys, like he does all this stuff. This is a like deleted, not deleted scene, but what they were thinking of adding to the movie, and they
okay.
didn't. You really don't know, like you don't really cut except for like a book page showing that the prince was looking for her, or he heard about a dead body girl in the forest, and that's when he goes to find the girl, and then he goes and kisses her. I was like, that's gross for one, because you're kissing a dead person, even though she's not, but to you, she's dead. You go up and kiss her, and then you're not like, for me, in my opinion, they should have had some cut somewhere where he's talking to his parents or his best friend. I don't know where Snow White is, blah blah blah. Like I want to be with her,
Kind of
and
like
she's
the prince
gone.
from Cinderella, where he's looking for the girl with the glass slipper.
Right, but that's a little more easier to follow and understandable. Where here, like they meet in the beginning and then you don't see him at the end. Like there's no
Yeah,
interaction that we know of. Like for me, I would have had him like maybe kneel down, weep that he lost the love of his life or the potential love of his life, and then kisses her and then walks away.
okay.
Like what could have been. And then she wakes up. But he kisses her he goes right to her, kisses her, and then kneels down. That's pretty much rape.
Bro,
Sorry to say.
I was thinking of it more like he was kissing her goodbye.
I
Yeah.
understand that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if he knelt down first, shed a tear,
Hmm.
he missed his chance. He wasn't there to save her or protect her, what have you. And he gives her a kiss goodbye. Yes, that.
Okay.
And then walk away and being like somber and upset. And then he sees the dwarfs looking up, like, like shocked. And you turn around and he sees Snow White waking up. Then he rushes to her and picks her up. But to go right to kiss her and stuff like that, that's rape. And I know that rape is, extreme um, comparison, but in the sense of putting your lips on someone who's not even, especially a dead person. What's that, necrophilia? They call that. When
Yeah,
when,
attraction to a dead person. Yeah.
yeah, it's just, yeah, it's like that. Ugh. So, I mean, that's how I would just, like to have done a little better, which I thought, but I just thought it was weird. I just thought it was weird. That's all. Oh, here's my other thing, Fupa. If she can make herself ugly, the queen, why not make herself even more beautiful?
Or she didn't have the spell.
Really, she had the spell for everything else, but she didn't have the spell for
You
the.
could argue also, why couldn't she just give the ugly potion to Snow White?
Yes, make the apple into yes, yes, yes. And
I mean,
then, then what happens though? How the spell gets broken, she gets kissed by a prince, whatever, right? Or first kiss. That's what it was. Her first
yeah,
kiss.
but then
But
that's
like,
like Beauty and the Beast or Princess and the Frog or something like that.
right. But the thing is, like, the prince or someone falls in love for who she is. It's not about skin. It's about what's inside the skin.
Hmm.
So that would have been a better presentation, in my opinion. Like, go that way. I mean, of course, they probably didn't think about it back then. They were just it was just men doing that, drawn by men. The majority of the cast is men. You only have two women in the movie, Snow White and the Queen. I just found that funny. Like, the apple could have been poisonous to kill. She could have made herself even more beautiful. Or, like you said, make Snow White ugly.
Well, like just talk about like the story and whatnot, right? So the original Snow White was written. Granted, it was by guys, but it's a German fairy tale that was written in the
Hmm.
19th century, 1812, by the Brothers
Hmm.
Grimm. It's part of the
Oh,
Grimm
they
fairy
wrote that?
tales. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So, I don't have the actual original story of Snow White, but from what I understand, severely way darker than even what we didn't even touch how dark it really is.
Oh, I believe it because the Brothers Grimm's, Hansel and Gretel,
Yep.
that's a disturbing story in itself of what that lady does to kids. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just like, yeah, like many things, and Disney does it notoriously. They'll take the premise. Okay, what? You just had a face.
Because Google ever coming in with the curveballs. So I hit a link. It says in the original Brothers Grimm version, Snow White is introduced as a 7-year-old child.
Oh no. And gets kissed by a prince.
I mean, times were different back then.
Yes, I understand, but
The, I didn't get
that's
as far to read how old the prince was.
right. That's
So
okay. That's borderline pedophilia right there. Or no, not borderline. That's pedophilia.
the
Especially if
prince could have been 8 years old.
I highly doubt it. Girls at 13 were getting married. As soon as they had their first menstrual cycle, they'll get married because you can have kids.
Uh,
So no, no, no,
I
thank
feel
you.
like I need to
Oh,
read the original story to be absolutely sure.
well, thank God then Disney modified it then in that aspect. But no, the animation still holds up. It is.
The water, man. Look at
Oh,
the ponds and the waters.
yes, yes.
It looked like I was thinking when we did the review on Lord of the Rings,
Hmm.
and I remember some of the sceneries, like, and I'm like, wow, that looked like good. That made me question how well that scenery was in reality, because you're looking at
Right.
the ripples and how they're doing it. I'm like,
Hmm.
they have no right doing it that well.
I know. I mean, these guys, even though it was majority of a production of men, which was notorious back then, they're so talented, so talented.
Yeah,
And it's just amazing. And again, a 30-second scene or a 10-second scene, it's like hundreds and hundreds of pages drawn. A lot of it, though, they do cheat in the sense of like they'll have a background and the background is like still
yeah.
where the characters are moving. So they do that a little bit of that there, but still impressive. Um, but also the last thing when she wakes up and she just like,
Oh, she's like, goodbye, y'all. It's good.
I know.
I'm like, just
She, she,
abandons
she
everybody.
bolts. She bolts out like with the quickness. It's like, oh, hi, honey, it's you, the prince, and I'm out.
I
And they
mean,
just
if you're going by her perspective, that really was a wishing apple. She wished to be with like her prince or her love and whatnot. Took a bite, woke up, there he is. Bam! Thank you, ma'am. I got my wish.
true, but the thing is, like, it doesn't go in detail how much they spent time together with the dwarves and her.
This is true. Hmm.
But the thing is, they became the best of friends. They became a family, and she's like, "I'm out."
She doesn't even say I'll visit on the holidays. She just
No, she's just
and
out.
they were just happy that she was alive. Don't realize
Yeah,
that she just abandoned them. She's like, I'm going
hey,
to the castle,
I'm
literally,
I'm gonna
and
I'm
she
going to
drove
Disneyland.
off to the Disneyland castle on a horse. She's like, I'm going
Oh,
to bigger,
I was
better
like,
places.
what?
Can't
I was
even
like,
bring the
what?
dwarves with her. She's like,
Yeah.
there's plenty of rooms, guarantee it.
Yeah, no, oh my God. Yeah, that's so true. And again, like the story just goes by quick. It doesn't really give any really exposition in
Mhm.
some aspects. It's more about, in my opinion, and I think you believe, it's more about the dwarves. That
Yeah,
like the dwarves are there and these characters came into their world.
uh huh,
We see a little bit of her and the witch and or the queen and blah blah blah, and then it's pretty much their world. And then she comes because she comes into their house and she takes care of them. They take care of her. At the end, is them watching her leave.
yeah.
So it's really their story, but
Oh,
it's told in different.
absolutely. I mean,
So
if like you were saying, if they had a narrative and one of the dwarves was the narrator, like
yes,
that's what they should do. I don't even know how they're doing the new Snow White, but that would have been a cool adaptation. Having
right.
like kind of like how they did with Korg last Thor
Oh,
movie, but do it better.
love and thunder.
Love and Thunder,
Like
but do it better.
like you're saying, like is taken or told by their eyes, by their voice, by their perception.
Exactly. Because then that
Yeah,
makes more sense because they don't know the all the history about the prince. They
right.
or the princess, they know she was a maid. They know about the little things. They'd be talking about that, and they fast forward a
I
little.
don't think they knew she was a princess.
No,
They
they
just know
did.
a girl.
They did.
Oh, they did? Okay.
When she said Snow White, and they go the princess, like they
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
like everybody knew the
Yeah.
princess. But no one cared that she was a maid in her own castle.
I swear, I know. I was like, what the
They
hell?
did know the evil queen though, and they were like, "Yo, she does the witchery. Don't mess with her. She'll come for you."
Like I said, I don't know what they're going to do, change here or not. But again, remaking live action stuff is so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Keep the originals as they are. And we've seen again, there's different variations. Snow White and the Huntsman, they did in the perspective of Snow White, but also of the Queen in more detail. That's what they should do with Disney now. Like they did it with Maleficent, which was a hit. Even made a sequel.
Yes. It was a
They should
complete
do
it was a really starkly different telling of the story, but it was actually pretty good.
right, and they should do that with this now. Make a live version, Disney live version of the Queen's perspective. What made her evil? What happened to the husband?
Mhm.
When did she send Snow White to clean? I was like, where did she learn the spells? Where did she get the books? All that stuff you could put in to
Yeah.
lead up to it, what it was. I'll watch that. I mean, they have books out like that. I think it's called Villainous, this Villainous series or the Villain series, where
I
there's
mean,
books.
there's like also like Wicked that came out not too long ago. That was about the
Right. That's the origin
witch.
of the, yeah, that, yes, before Dorothy showed up.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is like Disney does have books on not every villain, but a lot of the villains that we grew up on. There's a book on Hook. There's a book on the witch here, the queen.
Yeah.
There's other ones. So it's like, why not make movies like that?
I mean, they could. I mean, technically,
They
right now
should.
there's some horror films based on like the Winnie Pooh universe. Like there's Peter
Yes,
Pan,
and
Winnie the Pooh,
I want to review those
which is
because
so funny
yeah,
to me because of the two of us, you are the least horror film person.
I understand that, but I like watching stuff like they put a twist on something that I grew up on.
Yeah,
So Winnie the Pooh grew up on that. There's another one I think Hanna Barbera Banana, whatever it
there's
was, like
the banana splits.
those guys. I would
Yeah,
love to see that. There's another one. I think there's two more.
they made a sequel of the Winnie the Pooh one, so there was two of
Yes, I know
those.
that.
But there's also Peter Pan.
Yes. So I want to see like
Yeah, and
how
there
they
is
twist
supposed to
it.
be a whole horror verse based around that stuff.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
On Rotten Tomatoes, though, it is still ranked at 97% by the critics and 78% by the audience. Where are you with the ratings for this?
A solid 80. It is really good. It's extremely dated. It's not something for me to say in my personal taste that I would watch it over and over again, but I would say it's worth a watch. If you have kids, 100% watch this.
How young though?
Maybe 6. I think
You
5.
think 6? You think even younger?
Because I think kids nowadays, they get overstimulated with the current stuff, and they'll look at this and they won't appreciate it or enjoy it. If you get them young with this, they might be more receptive to it. I have a
Okay.
colleague, he doesn't let his kid watch all things, but like he wanted his kid to at least try to watch like Transformers and GI Joe, so he had him start watching at an early age the originals, and
Yeah,
that
but
kid
those are
burned through
different.
everything. He grew up with them now.
Yeah, but those are different. It's not as dark as this. You have GI Joe pilots and planes blows up, but then the pilots survive. In
True,
a real world, that would never happen.
true.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you have what's the white ninja's name again? Storm
Storm
Shadow.
Shadow.
That he's hitting a tank, and then the tank just falls apart.
Yeah,
So
I'll give you
like,
that.
but I'm saying like this is dark in a sense for a 4-year-old. Get me her heart, put it in a box. That's when I know
Yeah,
she's dead. I'll kill her myself or whatever, and then turns into a freaking old hag, and then is staring straight through the camera.
I would say
And
this
then the
can't be
kid is looking
darker
at the.
than Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid, like you had Ursula, literally the sea witch, sucking out the voice of people, and she gets impaled.
But you don't really see it. It's like off camera. You see the
You do see
shadow.
the impaling, don't you?
I think it's like on the shadow, like a silhouette. I can't remember. It's been a while
But
since
you
I
do
watched
see
it.
people get turned into seaweed people.
No, that's true. That's
It's pretty
true. I'm just
horrifying.
saying. I'm just saying. Even Pinocchio is pretty dark.
Pinocchio, arguably darker than this.
Yes, I believe so too. Especially that wolf coyote, whatever the thing was.
We're
Whoa.
running a little long, but I'm going to tell you this one thing. Someone brought up, I was watching like a podcast, and someone brought up a good point. They're eating like hot dogs, and they're eating like other foods and stuff, but they never show how they get food onto the island.
Thank you. Appreciate that now. Nightmares.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
mean the kids get turned into animals, and
Right.
like
They become donkeys or jackasses, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
exactly. And like,
Great.
but
Thank
then
you.
when they feed people new stuff, like yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I
Listen,
get
if
it. I
if
get
I
it.
had to get
I
that
get it.
horror in my mind, I'm sharing it with the world.
Okay. So for me, it's around the same. I always say 80. It's definitely not 97, especially of today's standard. Is different. The animation is amazing. The dwarves rock it out. The queen, aka the old witch, got it for me. She's a scene stealer. Snow White, the weakest, I will say, from the even though she's a strong in her own right, she's weak in comparison to the other ones. I'm just because she's about for true love, so she gets duped very easily.
She's that person that's so
Or took a bite out of it.
optimistic that she gets duped a lot. She's gullible.
Right. Yeah. She has trust in everyone, or sees the good in everyone when you definitely shouldn't. And the old like, oh, oh no.
Listen,
So
man,
no,
that was
I'm sorry.
every other horror film where the like some girl gets stuck in the woods and like as soon as the lights go out, I can't see. Oh my god, everything's so scary. Turn on the lights. Oh, that's a bunny rabbit.
But again, it's a classic. It still holds up in certain aspects. If you're into animation in that way, you're like, damn, 1937. Worth the watch, right? Like you said, for families. Yeah, have the boys watch it for the dwarves, have the girls watch it for Snow White,
Or the
and
dwarves.
say, hey, or the witch, the queen, is
Mhm.
like, if you don't act right, you'd be like her. So either or, it could be a lesson there. Worth the own? No,
Maybe
not
for
me.
those who are like
Definitely
Disney
not.
collectors.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. That is our throwback review of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Have you seen it? What was your favorite moment? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Until next time, we'll be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adon.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.